Welcome back to another video. A massive win for City, 3-2 win at home against Salford. Our first league win since the 17th of September last year against Stevenage, which was a 3-0 win. We move up to 5th. We couldn't have really gone up to 4th if we won that game, because we would have then had, if we beat Carlisle we would have, but the goal difference was a bit too much to get to. But a 3-2 win, we took the lead twice, but they came back from behind twice. But then that all-important goal from Abarisa gives us a massive 3 points. We climbed the league table, like I said, up to 5th. And yeah, that it is important, and it's big. We're on 39 points, level on points with Carlisle, 4 points behind Northampton now. When we lost to Northampton, we were looking at that and going, it's going to be hard to catch up now. Then we went and lost to Carlisle. But we've still got some, we've still got to play Rochdale twice, still got to play Gillingham twice. Both teams that are in the relegation zone. And I think we beat Salford twice in the league now this season, and they were not special. I thought they were quite poor, really. I mean, when I look at the stats, 14 shots to their 13, 6 on target to their 3, 52% possession to our 48. It looks an even game with the stats, but when you're there, you realise that they were poor. They were making mistakes, stupid mistakes, really. Just passing it to us from a goalkeeper throw, or just sloppy mistakes. And Elliot Watt, obviously, it got to him again, like it did in that other game with fans booing him. I mean, normally when we do that to rejects and players who are terrible for us, it normally goes against us. It normally makes them, it motivates them when we turn on them a bit, because they weren't necessarily good for us, or the way they left, or who they went to. But Elliot Watt, it gets to him every time. So every time we keep playing Salford, bring it on, because Elliot Watt bottles it. But he had a poor game again. I didn't mind him, but obviously the fans boo, and it's up to them to make the decisions. But it got to him, so it helped us. But it was a very good game. I mean, the game against Harrogate were a big improvement. The game today, a big improvement on the 2 games earlier on, and we need to get a run of games now where we just push on. But our next game's in 10 games in 10 days against Rochdale. I think it's at home. But that's the rescheduled match against them. So it's a big game, but we need to get a run of games going. And with that 10-day break, it's a bit annoying. But like I say, we just need to keep this run going, back-to-back wins. And Derbyshire will be available for that next game. Kelly were available for this game, but in match sharp and didn't fit enough to play. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the transfer window in these next 10 days as well. If anyone departs, I think the players we expect to depart will probably be players like Jake Young. I don't think Songo or Sutton will now. They seem to be getting a bit more game time. Songo coming off the bench, making an impact. Sutton starting on a more regular basis. So I think Jake Young's probably the obvious one. I think Rydell might be still injured, and if not, maybe he could go out on loan, maybe, and then, his contract's up at the end of the season, I think. Odesina will go out on loan, so there's a few who, probably will. I think Jake Young's probably the obvious one to go out on loan. And then, will there be any more incomings? The one position I think we're probably weak in at the minute is probably left back. I think when I look at that team, I think Allard is a solid right back. I think he's an okay left back, Folds as a backup. But when you look at, the weak areas in the pitch, and I do think it's that left side. We get the ball out there, and he's not quick enough to beat a man in, skillful enough going forward, and his crosses, he either underhits them or overhits them. Defensively, he can get done, especially for pace. So I think that's the area where I'd like to see us improve, but I don't think we will. I don't think we'll get a left back. Obviously, we have Rydell, who's waiting for his chance. Folds is an okay player, and if there's no options in the market for a left back on loan or as a free, it's a difficult position to try and get in January. But I think that's our weak position. But we look so much better as a team in this game and against Harrogate. and we look more gritty. You know, we look more balanced as well. The only criticism I have really of today is the midfield seemed to get outrun a bit, and Sutton and Gilead were fantastic. They were running up and down, running the socks off. Smallwood were good, and Chapman came back, and Wright came back and got the foot in a bit. But that midfield area, they seemed to play one or two passes, and then we were all at sea. We didn't know where to be. And I think that'll come, you know, when we keep playing in this system. You know, I think we've got Rochdale, Stockport. We've got Rochdale on Tuesday, the 10th of January. Then we've got Wimbledon on the 14th of January. Then we've got Carlisle, and then Stockport, and then Walsall to end January. So it's not a tough run. Obviously, Carlisle's the big game there where we need to get our own back at home. So, you know, we need to go on a run of games, and I think if we keep playing games at quick speed, we can't have games we scheduled again. Then that system and getting to know players and you know where they're going to be will become a bit more of a better system in the system. A bit more of a, you know, we'll know each other's positions a bit better and roles. But yeah, on to the player ratings. Lewis gets a 7. I mean, I'll give him a 6 against Harrogate. I thought he had a good performance, but he didn't have a lot to do, whereas today he had a lot more to do. You know, a couple of saves towards the end, and, you know, his passing. He's such a good player, and I think he's probably the one position, it always is your goalkeeper, the most important position. But, you know, if Cook gets injured, we've got Oliver. If Oliver gets injured, Cook. Smallwood, maybe East could go in there. You know, Critchlow, we struggle with him, but we've got a bit more depth in there now. You know, Lewis is the player, you know, we need to build a team around him, and I think we've got to do that by being successful with him as well. But he's such a fantastic keeper, and he's destined for great things. I think Championship probably will be his standard, but I don't know why Southampton got rid of him. I mean, you know, seeing him how he is now, is unbelievable. And yeah, 7 again for Lewis. Halliday, it's a tough one. I think he did well in spells. It was a good battle he had with the player on his side. He had him a couple of times, but Halliday had him a couple of times. So I'll give him a 6. He doesn't offer out going forward, Halliday, we know that, but defensively that's where he comes out strong, but not necessarily today. Got done a few times, so he gets an average 6. Platt gets a 7. I thought he were quite good. You know, he's a bit no nonsense when it comes to crosses into a box, playing it down the line. He'll just have it out for a throw or corner. They'll take no risk, but then he's quite assured on the ball, quite composed. He's a good ball playing defender, but he doesn't take no risk, which I like about him as well. There were just a few times where he got pulled out of position, but I think that's just the way we were playing, a bit pressing. And it led to nearly a few hours, but not leading to a goal. But then my man of match, Critchlow, gets a 7 as well. I thought he was fantastic today, Critchlow. Every time a cross came in, first to it, made a last-ditch challenge to stop the man from getting free to score in that first half. Can't necessarily remember the chance, but I remember him getting his foot to it first. And he did that a lot today, and I just thought he's composed. And again, when in that team, we noticed the difference in performance from you know the bottom of the pitch and then at the top end as well. We're not as balanced without Critchlow, so he gets 7 and man of match for me. I don't know how Tariq White got man of match, but I suppose his fanboy must have given him it. But left back might have followed 6. You know, both full backs, they got done a couple of times. A lot of crosses came in on that side. And then going forward, he didn't really produce anything. So average, because he did all right, but then at times he obviously, you know, got done and got found out a bit. But that's what you're gonna get with players like Folds and Halliday, who aren't necessarily quick and aren't necessarily going forward. They're gonna get done and found out a bit by some tricky wingers. Into midfield, I thought all of them were really good, but we did get our one in there a bit. And then the substitutions were really good as well from Mark Hughes to change that up a bit. Small gets 7. I don't think he's had necessarily a bad game this season. I think he's just had a bit of a low par game now and then. I'm not critical of him, but let me know if you are. I thought he had another brilliant game today, cutting the play out, you know, snapping into challenges. And that's something we're doing more. We're a bit more physical. We're a physical team. We're grinding out a few results, and that's what we need to do. But we're a lot more physical. We don't seem as timid and a bit scared of the opposition. We're putting our mark on the game, scoring early, and we're leaving a bit on players as well. And we, last two games, Valley Parade's becoming a bit of a fortress. We're getting on the referee, making him make some stupid mistakes, but some probably weren't fouls, and we're getting them. And that comes from an aggressive team. Players who are flying into challenges and not leaving anything out there on the pitch, and that's what we want. And we're just playing a lot better in that way as well. Making our mark on the game. And Smallwood's definitely one of those players who's leading by example in doing that. Into the rest of the midfield, get Gilead and Smallwood both get seven. Gilead and Sutton both get sevens as well, because they were up and down that wing. Got out wide a bit, winning throws. Winning challenges, and they were real box to box midfielders. And they both looked a bit tired towards the end, and that's a good sign. That's saying that that they put everything into a game, and so they were both fantastic as well against Harrogate. So hopefully they can continue playing well. And Sutton's found a new lease of life, as well as Gilead in that role. They've got a bit of a free role where they can do what they want, but they can press when they want as well. And it's really suiting them as well. So hopefully we get to see more of them playing this way, because I've been critical of Gilead. I know Sutton's a lot of people's favourites, but he ain't necessarily good on the ball. We do see that, but yeah, they're both playing really well at the minute. And Chapman gets a 7 as well. I thought he was up there with a match contender if he kept playing well. He just finds the ball in pockets of space, turns well, creates a lot. I think he just needs a bit more confidence to just have a go sometimes, just have a cheeky shot, and just to play a bit of a wild pass, because he's got the technical ability, he's got the flair. He's a fantastic player to watch, and again another fantastic game from Chapman into a front two. I thought Tariq Wright, I'm going to give him a 7, a bit generous, because I thought he had a good game. Got on the ball a lot, created a lot of chances. There were a brilliant bit of play between him and Jamie Walker, and Walker nearly scored, but he just took an heavy touch. He's got a load of ability, bags of it, and it's just a shame that he's on loan again, like many of our players who we love every season, and then they're on loan. We might get them back, we might not, and if we get them back, they're not half as good. But he's the player who's getting the goals, creating chances, and he's getting involved in play. And I think it's going to take a lot for him to lose that position in the team. Derbyshire will be available for the next game, but I don't think he'll come in. I think he'll take a few substitution appearances, and maybe he'll get involved in February time. But Terry Wright's got that place on lockdown at the minute. Andy Cook ain't going to take it, because that's not... Andy Cook and Oliver I don't think could work. Banks, if he comes back, will he be going in January? I don't know what's happening with him. I think he's just a bit ill, but he's missed the last 3 games with it. Will he look to take that position off Tariq Wright? That bit of a false 9, but get him behind a bit as well and create. So we will bring someone else in, but Tariq Wright's playing really well there at the minute and creating chances, and yeah, another 7 from him. And Verdane Oliver, man of match contender. I think the first goal got given as an own goal, but he created it by his presence again, winning aerial ability, and he's really good with the ball at his feet. And I think he's a better player than Andy Cook, and we play better without Andy Cook. But Andy Cook's got the goals to show for it this season. 2 Player of the Month awards, I think, and it's hard on Cook to take him out the team. But Verdane Oliver's come in and took his place, and he deserves to keep that keeper 1 in the team. And Andy Cook's got to come off the bench and prove himself again. His contract's up at the end of the season, and Verdane's got a 3-year contract, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But he's fantastic with the ball at the feet, holds the ball up well, links the play well, and he's got a goal to show for it today. Fantastic goal at the front post. I love them goals. And created another by his presence, and he wins a lot of free kicks as well. He's quite good with that. Anson, I liked him, but he was a bit clumsy in the way he gave away free kicks, whereas Oliver It's a bit more streetwise. He's winning them more than giving them away. So the team's having a big impact with him in the team as well, and we're going a bit more direct because we know there's an 80% chance he's going to win the header no matter who he's up against. So another fantastic performance from Verdane Oliver. And then the substitutions, I think man of match probably has to go to Mark Hughes in another sense, because 2-2, the game's running away from us a bit. The game's getting a bit stretched. Salford just score, they're getting on the ball, they're creating more chances. Brings 3 subs on, takes 3 off, and it changes the game again. And Andy Cook comes on, gets an assist. Aberisa comes on, scores a tap-in, and the game changes again. And it's fantastic managerial awareness from Hughes. And it's great that he's not. A couple of months ago, he wouldn't have done that. I don't think he was a bit stubborn, but a bit reluctant to change the game and a bit more cautious. I believe in these players, but he changed the game. He saw that the pattern of play was changing, and on come the players, change the game, and we get 3 points. So it's a brilliant start to the new year. Hopefully you have a good year, because we've had a couple of tough ones, but in real life and City as well. But hopefully this time next year we're sat here in League One, not League Two. Get us out of this place, because we've just played against another tin pot club who have only brought 222 fans to the ground again. Get us to League One where we're playing proper teams who bring proper fans to the game, and a bit of competition as well, because we're sat there singing, and then they're just sat there watching. It's boring with these fans, but what can you expect in this league? We need to get out of it, and I believe we will. I think this time next year we'll be sat in League One, and no matter where we'll be, we'll be grateful to be out of this, this graveyard of a division. But yeah, in Hughes we trust. Brilliant substitutions again from Mark Hughes, and hopefully we can make Valley Parade a fortress this new year, and have a good one.